My name is Meera Murthy. I'm the VP of Strategy at Evergage. Evergage is a customer data and personalization platform. We enable brands and retailers to talk to their customers and prospects at an individual level. It's easy to do a strategy like we just discussed, which is identify everyone that have just shopped for shoes and promote handbags. But now imagine doing that across all your categories. If you're a department store, you may have many categories. If you're an apparel retailer on your e-commerce, if you're selling shoes, but you're also selling clothing line, as well as accessories like jewelry. Now, how do you start building this? Do you go after each category and identify propensity for other categories? We could do that, but all we would do is keep doing the analytics, and your ability to activate now becomes limited. So that's where machine learning comes in. Machine learning provides the scale and automation that's necessary such that as a marketer, I can remove friction points by leveraging machine learning, both from the audience identification, who do I speak to, leveraging propensity models and a robust segmentation engine that's able to calculate propensity models in real time, enables you to activate in real time. Then leveraging machine learning to help you put the right content, the most relevant products, most relevant brands in front of your customers. So a simple example like taking that shoe shopper and getting them to convert into handbags. Now imagine if you had to leverage machine learning and do that at scale, you would simply start by saying, I want to target using propensity models, give me the audience that have a high likelihood to purchase again. You don't have to think about, are they a shoe shopper, are they a handbag shopper, etc. Because now that's where you leverage machine learning to say, here's the audience that have a high likelihood to purchase again. Now as a marketer, I can say, I want to send them an email with an offer and drive that second purchase. Now you build out your email, and your email might have a few different content zones. Maybe there's one zone that has the offer in it, and then a zone that talks about different various categories to enable them to explore, and then some products as recommendations. Now using machine learning, you can choose the right offer for this individual, or maybe there are customers that don't need that offer to drive that next purchase, but you can rely on machine learning to do it. You can rely on machine learning to recommend the right categories that this person would be interested in. It might be that customer one would be interested in handbags and buying more shoes and maybe clothing, and you could have another customer who might be interested in, even within shoes, pumps and sandals and boots, and that's what you need to talk about. But now you can get that scale by leveraging machine learning. You're not building each individual campaign for various categories, but you're really relying on machine learning to surface that one-to-one categories. Similarly, you can get that scale using product recommendations as well. We've seen customers see impactful results using personalization. Personalization drives conversion, so in your e-commerce channel, you can see 10 to 15% increase in session conversions, and it's typically personalization across all parts of the site. For brands and retailers where they're thinking about personalization not just within one channel such as web, but they're thinking about personalization holistically, they see a much greater impact from personalization. So with implementing customer data platform, we see customers see anywhere from 30 to 40% increase in their ability to understand customers, being able to identify customers, and an overall net revenue increase, not just in your web channel, but across the board. You can see a 3 to 5% increase in your total sales revenue. Oftentimes, when retailers ask me the question of where are we heading, I feel that we've scratched the surface in terms of what we're doing today. As I mentioned earlier, most retailers are still very digital channel focused. And when you think about what your customers need, they need a seamless experience. And this is not just experience so that they go make the next purchase. It could be, how can we make logistics easier such that the person who places an order and needs something in 30 minutes versus a person that could wait 2 or 3 days. With logistics, if you're able to bring in personalization, you can increase your profitability, you can improve your operations. So that's one area where personalization hasn't been leveraged so far. Another huge opportunity that retailers have is, because personalization has largely been focused on digital channels, offers are still a one-size-fits-all. Imagine walking into a mall, pretty much every storefront has a billboard that says up to 30% off, up to 50% off, and that's what enables customers to walk into the store. But with personalization, because personalization hasn't penetrated in stores and retailers haven't quite figured out from a technology perspective how to break that barrier, offers have been a one-size-fits-all. Now imagine if, from a technology perspective, you're able to break the barrier there by creating either display boards that are one-to-one, or better push notification and better mobile to in-store strategies where you're able to really target that individual customer and you don't have to rely on that one-size-fits-all billboards anymore that attract customers. Now you've created a tremendous opportunity for retailers to break down their existing offer system and really go into personalized offers, and even from a cost-saving approach of not providing offers for every sale. Often when retailers or brands think about personalization, they immediately think about the spend. Personalization space is very crowded. There's a lot of vendors out there, and there are various options in terms of the technology that you use to bring personalization into action. I would also take it one step further to say, before going out and acquiring a technology and enhancing your tech stack, is to look within your tech stack to see, are there opportunities for consolidation? Often the smallest retailer are the ones with the most number of vendors that they're working with, because their buying process has been solving individual problems. So they have picked up point solutions to solve cart abandonment, point solution to solve recommendation, so on and so forth, and an A/B testing vendor, etc. And before you know it, they have a tech stack with 10 vendors. There are technologies out there that can do all of those and that do it very well, and these are platforms. So look at your existing tech stack, look for opportunities to consolidate, look at your data silos, see if there are opportunities to consolidate there that you can do before you go out and acquire a platform.